everyone, welcome to another coffee episode. I'm Han, and I've been working as barista for over 4 years in Australia. And today I'm gonna talk about the essential coffee drinks that you should know in Australia. This video will be very helpful for someone who's willing to be a barista in Australia or for someone who's gonna travel Australia. Even though nowadays specialty coffee seems trend and more cafes start to serving specialty coffee, but besides of that brewing coffee, still coffee drinks made with espresso is very popular in Australia. And in general speaking, these menus you can find it pretty much every cafe that you're going. So if you learn about this, it's gonna be very helpful for either you when you're looking for a barista job, or even when you just come for travel and then visiting the cafe. So you can order what you like, the coffee. So let's talk about the coffee. In the coffee, I can categorize as black coffee and white coffee. Black coffee and white coffee difference is either we are adding milk or not. For black coffee, I can say espresso, long black, and for the ice drinks, ice long black. Those three would be black coffee. Of course, there's a cortado, ristretto, but those things is like not really common. Generally, cafes serving those things, so I'm not gonna include those things. White coffee is the coffee drinks that espresso with milk. So for example, like flat white, latte, cappuccino, and etc. So let's starting with the black coffee. For the black coffee, there's espresso and long black. For the espresso, it's like generally referring the only that the shot itself. I'll say it's very pure coffee. Obviously, it's gonna be very strong. And then if you're not really familiar with coffee, if you wasn't really coffee drinker, then this coffee is maybe I'll say the coffee that you wouldn't try for the first time. The taste is quite intense. I heard generally Italian people enjoying this espresso a lot, but in Australia, while I'm serving the coffee, pretty less people are ordering the espresso itself. The espresso is like it's small portion and then very strong. People sometimes order single shot or double shot. Some people say strong espresso, that means double shot. On the other hand, long black is like if you're Korean, you may familiar with the word Americano, but long black is literally with hot water with espresso shot. Most of the cafe put 2 shots, and even if small or medium size, we are serving with 2 shots because we are adding with hot water. That's why it's kind of a little weaker than espresso, but still, I'll still mention that it is quite still strong coffee, because except for water, nothing else is adding. There's a cold drink with black coffee as well, which is ice long black. And ice long black is literally more like simply ice and cold water and espresso shot. So more like enjoying the long black in a cold version. Mostly the portion is tends to be a little bit more bigger than long black, but it generally depends on the cafe and depends on what cup size you have. And then let's talk about the milk coffee, white coffee. For the white coffee, I can categorize with a small portion coffee and just normal portion of coffee, ice drinks. For the small one, there is a macchiato and piccolo latte. The macchiato is same size of the espresso coffee cup, and then there is a espresso. And on the espresso, we are putting dash of steamed milk, and put on top, we are adding some little bit of frost. Compared to espresso, it's a little bit weaker, I would say, but still very strong, cause literally mostly it's just espresso. But because it has a steamed milk and with a frost on top, so it's gonna give you a little bit more texture and a little bit more balanced taste, I would say. Piccolo latte is more like a little bit more portion of the milk. So piccolo latte is like some people are just comparing with small version of the latte, but it's a little bit hard to say with smaller version of latte, cause like the ratio is definitely very different as compared to latte. But anyway, the piccolo latte is still with a small cup. We putting the espresso and filling up with steamed milk. So compared to the other or the small drinks, it's definitely the most weaker one, but because the steamed milk is gonna give you a lot of mouthful like taste and then balance as well. If you're a person that kind of tired of milk coffee but also at the same time doesn't want too strong, then probably the piccolo is gonna be a really good choice for you. For me, like when I came to Australia for the first time, piccolo was the one that I tried at first, and at the time I even didn't know that one was a piccolo, and I was expecting I'm gonna get about that size coffee, and then actually when I received this size coffee cup, I was like, what the hell? And then when I drink it, I was so impressed with that taste and strong. Of course, you need to try in the good cafe as well to enjoy that taste. If you still like strong coffee and then want to enjoy with the milk flavor and stuff, then definitely piccolo's gonna be nice. Frost ratio is very similar with the latte, like about like 10 ml. Oh, not 10 ml actually, like, but about like that much frost level is gonna be suitable for piccolo latte. And then with a white coffee, the three most common coffee would be flat white, latte, and cappuccino. Literally, that flat white latte cappuccino is pretty much similar coffee, I'll say. In terms of the fact that on espresso, we are adding a pretty much similar amount of steam milk. But main difference would be about the frost or foam amount different. Like flat white and cappuccino is we generally pouring on a pretty much same size of cup, on a small cup about like that size. Some coffees still using the same cup, but mostly about the latte coffee is like they using the latte glass. Frost difference is about like roughly 5 ml for flat white, 10 ml for latte, and 15 ml for cappuccino. Compared to latte and flat white, a little bit different with the cappuccino. It's like in Australia we are adding some little bit of cocoa or cocoa powder on top. So this is also depends on the barista or depends on the cafe how they prefer. But some people put the chocolate cocoa powder on top of the espresso and then pour the milk to make it a little bit more beautiful palette. But some baristas like just prefer to pour the coffee first and then put the chocolate powder. I think it depends on what do they prefer or how do they prefer. There's one more coffee that very similar with cappuccino, which is called mocha. Mocha is more like it's also using the espresso and cocoa powder and then steam milk, which is like pretty much similar foam amount with cappuccino. The main difference is cappuccino and mocha is the amount of we are using the cocoa powder. So like cappuccino is like we are just putting the chocolate powder on top. You just can a little bit enjoy the cocoa powder. Actually, not other countries doesn't even use the cocoa powder actually. But about the mocha, it's like mostly they adding the cocoa powder in the espresso, mix it well, and then pour the milk there. If you wasn't really big fan of the coffee, if you want a little bit of sweet coffee, then maybe the mocha would be the way to try to go. I mean, because it has a sweet cocoa powder and then it's mixed with the coffee, so it's being well balanced, and then it may be low down your resistance toward the coffee. After pouring the mocha, like it also depends on the cafe. Sometimes they serve in the cup, sometimes some people are serving on the glass. For me, I generally serving on the cup because there isn't much big difference with the cappuccino. But some baristas, some cafes serving on the glass. There's a hot chocolate, matcha latte, or chai latte. Matcha lattes, I don't see really many cafes like using the matcha latte, put the matcha latte on the list. But chai latte is quite a lot actually. So chai latte is literally with a chai powder, using chai powder or chai tea or the chai base instead of espresso. They are pouring the steam milk on that chai. In the way they are serving the chai latte. Since it's called as chai latte, the frost or foam amount is very similar with the latte. On the other hand, hot chocolate is like except for the espresso, just put the cocoa powder and then they're pouring on steam milk. The frost amount is similar with cappuccino or mocha, or sometimes even more. And yeah, that's it. They definitely are not a coffee, but you can find this menu very easily in the cafe. So that's why I just included those things. Maybe for the last, there's a white coffee for the iced drinks, which is iced latte, iced coffee, iced mocha, and iced chai latte as well. And of course there's other things as well, but if I only focus the coffee, like there's iced latte and iced coffee. Iced latte and iced coffee main difference is like this is also depends on the cafe, but mostly if you're ordering the iced latte, you can expect as there is gonna be ice and cold milk and espresso shot on top. But on the other end, iced coffee is like some cafes using the ice as well, but mostly ice cream and milk, espresso, and cream on top. That's iced coffee and iced latte. I heard in other countries, iced coffee is referring more different beverage. As far as I've been going around those cafe in Australia, and then as far as I've been working, mostly they are the main difference with iced latte and iced coffee, and they are the mostly what people are expecting as well. Iced chocolate, iced latte is the way the making is like pretty much similar with iced latte or iced coffee, but instead of espresso, they are using the chai syrup or cocoa. Yeah, that's the main difference. So yes, these are the pretty much every coffee drinks that you should know in Australia. Like, of course, depends on the cafe. They may a little bit of tweak, or sometimes the recipe is a little different. So the one that I said is maybe not 100% right, but still, in generally, most of the cafe has this kind of menu, and then if you order, you will get the coffee that what I just explained. So yes, that's pretty much everything for essential coffee drinks in Australia. I hope you find some helpful information out of it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the likes and subscribe button. And if there's someone there who's willing to be a barista, who's trying to come to Australia for travel, then please share this video so they can watch and then understand and have better experience in Australia. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later. Also, I just need to add one more thing. So this one, just when I explained the coffee, I mentioned about the black coffee and white coffee, but that doesn't mean that like people really ordering as like I want to have a order. Can I have a one black coffee or can I have a one white coffee like that? I mean, I took an order like that. I mean, whenever I work, sometimes very occasionally, very rarely, sometimes some people ordering as can I have a black coffee or can I have a white coffee. I think black coffee is like people ordering the long black or espresso as a black coffee. They say can I have a one black coffee. I heard that kind of order a couple of times. But white coffee is like not really common. I just like referring that word to categorize those two coffees to explain a little bit more better.